I will pray for you. How easily, after years of practice, those words just roll off the tongue and off my fingers as I post them time after time on Facebook in response to friends, family, and parishioners who are experiencing crisis. It is the pastoral thing to say. But oh, how I have struggled with prayer over the course of my lifetime in ministry. It's been anything but easy. All too often I have found my prayers sounding like a little boy writing to Santa Claus. What am I doing? I'm trying to convince God to do something that I don't think God would do unless I told him. It seemed ludicrous. And once I became a pastor, I figured there must be a particular way to pray. And so I sought out all manner of experts, both those over the centuries, as well as colleagues. I even got certified as a spiritual director in an effort to learn how to pray better. None of that really worked. To make matters worse, I was taught in seminary, be careful what you pray, especially when you're praying with others. Now, don't pray for things like, oh God, make them better, because what happens if they don't get better? Or praying for peace or justice. Just be careful, or people will get the wrong idea about God. I've discovered over the years that God can handle that one on himself. I don't need to worry so much about how I pray. What I've discovered over the years is that my prayers with God have become less supplication and more conversation. A simple, ongoing dialogue. Sometimes it feels like a monologue, but I know God is listening, and oftentimes responds by not responding to my requests. Thank God. But this last year has intensified my prayer. Perhaps because there's so much I cannot do anymore because of isolation and pandemic. And prayer seems to be one of the few pastoral duties afforded to me. I can say my conversation with God has increased and become more intense, a whole lot more animated. And I can begin to understand what the writers in the New Testament spoke about when they talked about praying constantly. It seems like every day is an ongoing conversation with God that never stops. It just pops up from time to time in the midst of everything else that is going on. What has been surprising to me is the intensity of that prayer with regards to those around me. While I have prayed for others, I've never had that sense of connectedness that I have these days. And perhaps because that is the only way we can stay connected in the midst of isolation, is through our prayers. I've also experienced the intense prayers of others on my behalf. There is a new sense of prayer as not only conversation, but as connection, as community. When I pray, I experience that great cloud of witnesses that gathers around me, seen and unseen. I have been blessed by friends, colleagues, and especially my mom, who are experienced prayers and have taught me much in these days. Lent is a time when we focus on our spiritual disciplines, our faith practices, and prayer is one of those. I invite you for this season especially, in the midst of all that we are going through, as a nation, as church, as families, and as individuals, to spend some time focusing on your prayer life, to wrestle with the hard questions, to work through some of the impediments, and to be patient with yourself. There is no right way to pray. You don't need flowery words. You don't even have to know how to ask. A prayer that has become very important to me these days is simply, remember so-and-so. They need your help, oh God. I trust God can fill in the blanks and read between the lines. Join me this season then in praying together that we might grow deeper in our love for God and our relationships with one another. And in and through it all, may we be sustained in our weariness and have our joy restored. O Lord, hear my prayer. O Lord, hear my prayer. When I call, answer me. O Lord, hear my prayer. O Lord, hear my prayer. Come and listen to me. O Lord, hear my prayer. O Lord, hear my prayer. When I call, answer me. O Lord, hear my prayer. O Lord, hear my prayer. Come and listen to me.